Hi guys, welcome back to my kitchen, and today we're back cooking another recipe from delicious gluten-free meals, and this time we've turned to the sides chapter to make one of my favourites, gluten-free spring rolls. Now, I don't know why these are so hard to find in the shops, but honestly, they're really fun to make. And to make sure that you're not put off by a longer recipe, I wanted to show you that actually the longer recipes are sometimes just where I want to go into more detail to make sure you can get it exactly right, when really it is actually very simple to make. So we're using psyllium husk for this recipe, so I've got a bowl of warm water, and I'm going to add the psyllium husk to it, which looks like this. It's just a sort of like seed-like thing, and I'm going to pour that in and then give it a really good stir. And as we stir it, you'll see that it starts to turn into a kind of gloopy mixture, and this is what means that we have a spring roll wrapper that we can really like manipulate and roll out nice and thin. So you can see it does start to thicken quite quickly. We're going to leave that to stand for just a minute to thicken up while we get our other ingredients for the wrappers ready. So I've got a mixing bowl here, and I've also got my gluten-free plain flour, which I'm going to add. And to that I'm adding gluten-free tapioca flour. Now I really recommend getting this. Tapioca flour is great for adding stretch to bakes. So I'm popping that in now. Now I've also got my old friend xanthan gum. This always comes in handy for gluten-free bakes, and again it really helps to replicate the stretch that we lose when we take gluten out of a recipe. So I'm adding that into my flour mixture, and I want a bit of salt. Just going to give that a good mix up. Okay, and after a minute you can see that this has gone nice and gloopy. And so I'm just going to pour that into my flour mixture. And finally I'm going to add a little bit of vegetable oil. Now the recipe does have quite a lot of oil in it, but that is because you only use a tiny bit for the wrappers and the rest is for frying the spring rolls. And then we've just got to mix it up. So you'll find that quite quickly the mixture will become kind of claggy, and that's when I'm going to get in and use my hands. Now it's not really a very sticky mixture, so this should come together relatively easy. And there, within 30 seconds, we've got a lovely dough that's come together nice and easily. It's like the tiniest bit sticky, but my hands are pretty clean from that. It's definitely important to wrap this because we don't want the mixture drying out at all, so just wrap it up in cling film, leave it at room temperature, and we'll come back to that when our filling is cooked. To make your filling, you want to add some sesame oil to your pan. Add your stir fry veg and your tamari, which is basically gluten-free soy sauce. Once that's been cooking for a couple of minutes, you want to add in your cooked rice noodles as well. And one tip to help this cool down quicker is to spread it out on a cold plate where it will cool down much faster than in the hot pan. Okay, so my filling is behind me, cooling off, and I've got my spring roll dough wrapper, and I'm going to portion this into 12 portions so that we can make 12 spring rolls. So I'm just going to do this by cutting it with a knife. So I will do it very roughly. They don't have to be perfect. You want them to be about 30 to 35 grams per piece of dough. So you can weigh them out if you want to be precise, but I'm kind of just freehanding it here. And once I've rolled them into little balls, I'm going to pop them back in the cling film just so they don't get too dry whilst I'm rolling out and filling my individual spring rolls. So I'll just wrap those up, and then I'm going to take the first one and we're going to put it on our sheet of baking paper, which is dusted in flour, and I'm going to pop a little bit of flour on top of that one and the second sheet on top. And then we need our rolling pin. We're going to try and keep these as circular as possible, but don't worry if it does sort of skew off a little bit. They don't have to be perfect. It doesn't matter if things are a little bit rustic. We just want them to be roughly a circle shape. And the best way to do that is to keep turning your rolling pin. And as I'm about to demonstrate, I'm not the best at getting these in a perfect circle. However, I don't think it matters as long as they aren't too squiffy. Now the trick to these is we want to keep the dough as thin as possible, and because of the psyllium husk, this should be relatively easy to do, but that's why I'm rolling it between baking paper, or you can use cling film. It just stops it all sticking to the rolling pin and breaking. So once I've rolled it out, I'm going to carefully peel away the top layer. And as you can see, I've got a lovely thin sheet here that I can use for my spring roll. And if I show you, it is so thin and sheer, like you can almost see the light through it. There's no light to show you, but trust me. And then I'm going to need my filling, which looks like this. This has been cooling off in the corner, and now it's ready for me to fill the spring rolls. Also, to seal these, you will need a beaten egg as well. So I've just beat this up lightly with a fork, and I'm just going to keep that on the side with my pastry brush. So you want to take a mixture of filling where you've got a bit of noodles, a bit of veg. And we're going to place this parallel to the bottom of the spring roll wrapper, which is nearest you. So I've gone for about that much. Again, you can divide it up beforehand if you want to make sure you've got it right, but for the purpose of showing you guys, that's approximately how much filling you need. First thing I'm going to do is roll the wrapper over the top of the filling, and then sort of tuck it back towards me so it's in a nice little blanket. I'm going to tuck each edge in, and then before I roll this anymore, I want to make sure the edges are all nicely sealed, and I'm going to just take a little bit of egg and brush it onto this exposed part here. And then as I roll it up, it should seal it up together perfectly, like this. And then we're simply going to repeat that with all of the spring rolls. Now I've rolled up all my spring rolls, it's time to fry them. Okay, so we want to heat our oil to around 190, and as you can see, that's heating up pretty nicely, and I think we're almost there. And I'm going to give them a couple of minutes on each side. And once they've had their 2 minutes, I'm going to turn them over. Now, as you can see, they don't go super brown, but they do have some little brown bits on them. And once it's had 2 minutes on both sides, we're going to take these off, and I'm going to put them on a plate with some kitchen roll while I do the rest. And here they are, my finished gluten-free spring rolls. These are so good. Just look at how golden and crispy they are. These are perfect for dunking in your favourite sauce or having alongside some of the fakeaway recipes in my book. And hopefully I've convinced you that they are much easier to make than you might think. And actually there's also like a step-by-step guide in the book. So grab your copy of Delicious Gluten Free Meals and find the recipe in the simple size chapter, page 218. And just look at them, they're golden, they're crispy, oh, they're gonna be so delicious. I can't wait to eat these. Now, if you wanna give this recipe a go and you're not sure what to eat the spring rolls with, I also have my fabulous fakeaways chapter, which has loads of fakeaway classics. We've got sweet and sour pork, salt and chili squid, chicken and cashew nuts, chow mein, gluten-free egg noodles, so many recipes that you can pair these spring rolls with. So make sure you check it out and let me know how you eat yours. If you like this recipe video, let me know if you give these a go. Let me know if you've got your copy of the book, and please do consider leaving a review on Amazon because reviews do mean a lot to first-time authors like me. But you'll find the recipe for these spring rolls in Delicious Gluten-Free Meals. It's such an easy side and you will not regret it. Make sure you like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe for more recipe videos, and I'll see you again soon.